¿Qué tal, amiguitos? Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Rock Invasion Entrevistas. En esta ocasión contamos con la presencia de un miembro de uno de los grupos más importantes dentro de la escena extrema a nivel internacional. Joakim de Necrophobic ha tenido a bien pasarse por la nave para hablar de la historia del grupo, para hablar también sobre ese último trabajo que salió hace ya 6 meses y para comentar otros muchos asuntos que podréis descubrir viendo esta entrevista. Espero que la disfrutéis. Hello, Joakim. It's great having you here. I'm a huge fan, so thanks a lot for being here today with us.
Thank you.
So I was really looking forward to this interview. The listeners know that. So Necrophobic was formed back in '89 by you. You are one of the original members. You were always there, together with Black Moon, who's sadly not anymore with us. And the name was taken from Slayer's song. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if Slayer hadn't put out a song like that, because actually when we were in school, there were so many other bands called Necro something, and David said that we cannot have a band name with Necro in it, and we had a lot of different names to choose from, not choose from, but when we were brainstorming, and then we couldn't agree on anything. One was Black Angel, Morbid Angel, Death Angel, blah blah blah. So that one got thrown in the trash. And then one day he said, "What about Necrophobic?" And we all, yeah, we choose that. I don't know, but. Like I said, if it wasn't for a Slayer song, we just didn't look at the albums. But if it wasn't for a Slayer song, we probably wouldn't have come up with that name. Anyhow, it's Slayer is one of the earliest influences to the band, so it's really cool.
Nice. You released a couple of demos, and then the Call EP back in '93. Mm-hmm. And then came the classic, The Nocturnal Silence in '93 too. And then there came a 4-year gap between The Nocturnal Silence and Dark Side. By that time you were working with Black Mark, and I know that, looking back, you weren't that happy with Black Mark. Can you tell us a little bit what happened? Because, The Nocturnal Silence is a great album. I don't know why I know, okay, for me Necrophobic is one of my favorite bands, but I know that in a certain way, you didn't get I think, okay, this is my opinion, but I think that you didn't get the recognition you guys deserved.
I wouldn't say that at that time we were unhappy with Black Mark, because we were actually glad to be on a label in the first place. The thing that caused the big gap was that at the same period our first album came out, David also started Dark Funeral with his close friend Michael, and as he was the main songwriter, when he came up with the new music, he found it easier to write music for Dark Funeral than for Necrophobic, because Necrophobic had to include a bit more advanced guitar playing and to involve the melodies. And like he said to us, it's much easier to write for Dark Funeral because I have to just make 4 different chords and then some blast beats over it, and then it's a final song. So it wasn't really like you said, that we were unhappy with Black Mark. That came later. What was there another question in the question?
So yeah, I was just wondering about that gap, but you have already answered to that.
Yeah.
And you stayed with Black Mark until the third Antichrist. Later on,
Yeah.
you moved to Hammerheart, right?
Yes. Yes.
For Blood Hymns. Later on, you moved on to Regain.
Yeah.
With an album that I cannot pronounce at all. The 2006 album, it's impossible for me to pronounce because it's an Icelandic word.
Yeah. It's Rimtursum.
Jesus Christ. I cannot even...
I probably the Icelandic people should pronounce it, but that's skip the H in the beginning and just focus on the R. Rimtursum.
Okay. Then came Death to All. You moved to Season of Mist. You released Womp of Lilithu, and then you moved to Century Media until today.
Yeah.
So on October 9th, I think, October 9th of 2020, you released your 9th album. You released Dawn of the Damned, which is the second album after the comeback of Anders with Sebastian and with Johan. Was it difficult? Because with Mark of the Necrogram, I was so hyped that Anders was back with Sebastian, with Johan. That was a huge album. Was it difficult to make a follow-up for Mark of the Necrogram? I think that Dawn of the Damned is a great album. I think you guys kept, the level. I think you even went one step further. But was it hard for you, having released such a beast of an album like Mark of the Necrogram to do the follow-up during the pandemic too?
The album was not written during the pandemic. It was recorded and layouted during the pandemic. So the material was already there. We are known for having big gaps between the albums, so pretty much everyone in the band was pretty shocked when Sebastian, we were still playing and touring with the Mark of the Necrogram, and all of a sudden Sebastian had already written a couple of new songs, and the couple of new songs were so damn good, and we just like, what the hell, Sebastian? How are you able to write these quality Necrophobic songs while we still are out playing with the Mark of the Necrogram and receiving all the good reviews and all that stuff? So I think he wrote that album within a year, actually, from first song to the last song. And that also Sebastian has he's very what was the English word? He has his life. One day is different sections. He wake up early, play guitar, write songs maybe, and then he do his family stuff and work stuff, and then he goes to bed earlier than the rest of us. So he's he has his way of living. Back if you back 10 years, he wasn't really like that, and more of a party guy. So he's very disciplined. His life is very disciplined, and I think his creativity always been a creative person and an artist, but now his life is more disciplined, and he finds more time to be creative and not sleeping all day and stuff like that. So that's a main reason why it took so short time for us to put out a new album.
Okay. And before that album, you released an EP, the Pesta EP, back in 2017, where you included a re-recorded version of a song that appeared in one of your early demos. How did you come up with that idea?
Sorry,
had you already been playing, with the idea of re-releasing some of the old demos, re-recording something, or how did that come up?
The thing was that when we signed to Century Media, they wanted to put out a 7-inch vinyl, just to here's our new signing. And the songs that we had at that time, Pesta was the most, how should I say it, representative for the band. So we recorded it, and then we had to choose a song for the B-side of the 7-inch. And Sebastian had this idea very long ago, back in 2000 or something, that we should make a 7-inch with a cover song, and also something from the early age of Necrophobic. So we chose to make a re-recording of Slow Asphyxiation, which was the first song on the first demo that we ever released. So it was a pretty cool thing to do, I think, to re-record an old classic. Since it also appeared on Mark of the Necrogram, and we wanted to make the EP special, we choose to make another version for the album. So it's not the same versions. There's 2 versions of Pesta, one on the 7-inch and one on the album.
Exactly.
And we also made a video of it, the album version.
Okay. When it comes to the album cover, that was Christian Wallin. Again, I don't know how to pronounce the surname. I'm sorry about that.
Christian Wallin.
Okay. Oh my God, Swedish. I always say, on the show, listeners know that I love, all of the Swedish music, everything, but I cannot say a fucking word in Swedish. So every week I say, oh, so another week has gone by and I still haven't learned any Swedish at all. So yeah, my bad. Okay. So
yeah, I learned Spanish in school. I cannot speak Spanish.
Okay.
I took Spanish lessons for, I guess, 6 years. The only thing I can say is una cerveza, por favor.
That's all
and
you need.
How did that sound in your ears? Like good Spanish or bad Spanish?
That was cool. I could understand it, no problem. Yeah. No, that was fairly good pronounced. Fairly good pronounced.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Christian made the album cover again, and I say again because he's the artist for Dark Side, and then he did the Mark of the Necrogram album cover, where we can see what's behind the door of Dark Side, right?
Yeah.
We see the castle, and you've worked with him again for Dawn of the Damned. So my question is, are we now inside the castle in this new album cover? I have the album here. I don't know if it listens.
Yeah, we are in the castle now.
Okay, we're in the castle. That's a great album cover. I mean, Christian is one of the best artists out there.
Yeah.
His work with Dissection, with Bathory, with The Crown, with a lot of artists. It's great artists. Okay, then, well, you had a great guest in this album. You had Shmia from Distraction on Devil's Spawn Attack. You even made a video where we can see you in the studio having fun. And I remember Sebastian talking about that video and how there were some people saying like, oh, Necrophobic are having fun on a video. What's that? And Sebastian said, well, of course, there's a dark side of us that we reflect in our music and that we reflect in the lyrics, but if we hadn't fun, we wouldn't have been around for 30 years. So I think it was really cool, seeing that on the video, seeing you guys having fun in the studio with Shmia. And how did this happen, this collaboration with Shmia from Distraction?
The thing was that when all the songs were written, I guess the label said that there's one song missing. I don't know if it was how many songs or if the playing time of the album wasn't what they wanted, or if they wanted an extra track or something. So actually 1 week before going into the studio, Sebastian wrote this song in just 1 week. And when we recorded it, I don't know if Sebastian said it or Johan or Anders, this reminds me of Necrophobic, but also like if there was old thrash metal from the late 80s. And I think it was Anders who said that it would be great to have Schmier from Destruction singing on it, because the song reminded of Destruction in some way. And our manager, we talked to our manager, which is also manager for Destruction, or friend or whatever. And our manager kindly asked if Schmier was up for singing, like duet singing, for the recording, and yeah, he was. Actually, me and Sebastian met him in Wacken in 2002, and he's a heavy metal fan also, so he knew about Necrophobic for some reason. So we have already met, so maybe it was easier for him to say yes, I will do this. Anyway, we were really, really happy that he accepted, and the result was like what we ever dreamed of. His high-pitched screams and his way of singing, everything was really cool. And for the video, of course, during Corona, he wasn't able to be with us in the studio, so he made his own filming when he was in the studio singing for the song.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And about that, that we are smiling and everything, and showing that we are having a good time, is pretty much how we are as persons. We are not depressed persons 24 hours a day. We take our music very seriously, but we are also having a good time once in a while. We are not like, we are dead serious about the image and the music that we do. But still, we are more like Venom than like the modern black metal bands that, have to have that evil approach to everything they do 24 hours a day.
Hmm. I like that a lot. I like your approach. I like
Yeah,
your approach.
but we are older now also. I remember I was like that when I was like 22.
Yeah, yeah. I think that we have all been there at a certain point when we were younger. I I, I,
Yeah.
I I can speak for myself, like, yeah, yeah. When I was younger, I was evil, or so I thought. Yeah. So, okay. There's been several lineup changes. The last one was on the bass guitar,
Yeah.
and now you have Alan since 2019. But the thing
Yeah.
is that, okay, you've been around for over 30 years. There's been several lineup changes, but
Yeah.
the necrophobic sound is always there, and that doesn't mean that you're repeating yourself over and over. And I don't know how is that possible. Being around, firstly, for over 30 years, and secondly, having your own sound but without repeating yourselves. Because I know there's a lot of people who think that having their own sound means, making the same album over and over and over. That's pretty boring. That makes no sense. And I don't know. As I said, the sound is there, but you introduce several new things with every album without losing the essence.
Mm.
Hmm. So how is that possible?
Uh, we are stubborn. No, but I guess it's how we are all heavy metal fans ourselves. And everyone in this band likes Iron Maiden, for instance. Iron Maiden is an example how you can sound the same without sounding the same. So in the beginning, we, how should I say it? We didn't know how to write music, but we wanted to find the right way to write music that was like Iron Maiden, for instance, because other bands that we, let's say Entomb, for example, Nick Anderson is a more he wants to explore much more with the music he writes. So Entomb, that started out like the best band ever, developed into making it a death rock band. And for me, and many others, of course, who like the first album and have it like the best album in the world, to see that change, I was a bit disappointed, because if they had continued doing what they did best on the first album, I would have loved to heard many more albums in that way. So there was a rule in Necrophobic that we are not going to be a progressive band, or we have to have certain limits of what we could do with the music. It has to have a melody, it has to have the fury, the aggressiveness, the dark feel. Yeah, it could be a commercial melody, but it has to sound like darkness or something. It has to be emotional in a dark way. So that was the recipe that we have been following since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm also pretty proud that we have put out so many albums like Iron Maiden, to have this the concept that it's still working without sounding boring.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. That's really cool. So yeah, it's been already 6 months after your latest release, so I think that now you will have more perspective about it than, you know, during the first stages of, you know, the promotion of the album. How do you feel about Dawn of the Damned 6 months later?
It's a very weird situation we are in now. I have almost forgotten about the album. We haven't been playing shows with it. Now it's like every festival and stuff that we have planned is now postponed until next year. So it feels, yeah, like I said, I have forgotten about it. We all got actually reminded that the album was out because we actually got a Grammy nomination in the Swedish Grammy last week, I guess. Wow, that was like, you know, totally unexpected. But then again, it reminded me, at least, that we had this album out. So yeah, I can say I have forgotten about the album because nothing is really happening right now. It's all only postponed shows to next year. So
yeah, I know.
A bit sad, but
it's a little bit sad. Yeah. So I have the Bad Boy here. I've already shown it. This is the 2 CD version, which is really cool. That came with a patch. And there's a second CD with a show that you play during quarantine. It's really cool. You know, the selection of songs is great. There's a couple of classics. Then we have Tsar Bomba. How did you choose these 4 songs? You know, to have them on this version of the new album.
Yeah, it was actually the problem was that we didn't record on audio all the songs because it was supposed to be a live streaming. So we didn't have all the songs to choose from, and those 4, maybe there was one more or something, but those were the only ones that we had really good audio of. So we thought it would be a cool thing to do, to have this special edition to include those 4, and it's also many years further. It is cool, you know, picking up that album. Oh, do you remember 2020 when it was a world pandemic? Yeah, here's 4 songs from that period. When all the bands did the streaming concerts and everything, we were, I guess, one of the first bands to do it. Even though we had some technical problems we went through because we had announced it and we didn't want to let the fans down. So it was supposed to be much better sound and picture. But anyway, people were happy that we went through with it, even though we had technical problems. So yeah, it's a special thing, those 4 songs.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really cool. It's really cool. There were different editions of the new album. There were several colors for the vinyl versions, but I thought this one, I don't know, this one was the one that I thought it was the coolest one, you know, because then I would have had the problem of choosing the color, you know, with the vinyl version. I saw Sebastian with like a rainbow, with a necrophobic rainbow, and I was like, I don't know what to choose, so I'm gonna stick to the CD. Yeah. And
we have a guy here, many of those, of course, males and females that likes to collect. So they buy every color.
Yeah, I've seen some people on social media. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about the necrogram, which is your symbol. I have it here.
Yeah.
That was designed by Urbanskid, I think.
Yes.
Exactly. That guy played in Crematory, in Nasum, in Crucifier, Regurgitate, etc., etc.
Yeah. Back in the day when we made demos, he had made the demo cover of his own band, Crematory. There, I guess it was the second demo, and me and David looked at it and this is a really good artist. So we asked him on the shows when you met people, you didn't call them, or because you couldn't find the phone numbers, so you talked to people when you were at the shows, and we asked him to if he was interested to draw the cover for our second demo, and there was no brief, or he could do whatever he wanted, and he came up with this symbol. I guess he also named it. I didn't make a pentagram, I did a necrogram, so he also decided what the symbol was named. So, and as an Iron Maiden fan, when Derek Riggs made the Iron Maiden covers, he always placed his symbol somewhere in the art. And I said to David, this symbol is going to be included everywhere, like Derek Riggs has his symbol on every Necrophobic release we do. I don't know if we have it on 100%, but yeah, the symbol has always been there from that demo in 1991.
Exactly, that was the Unholy Prophecies demo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What else?
I remember it was 30 years ago that we went into the studio and recorded that demo.
Exactly.
Yeah. April 91.
Then happy anniversary. Yeah. I'd like to ask you a little bit about social media, because, for example, Sebastian is really active. He has his own YouTube channel. I think that's really cool because he makes different guitar playthroughs, and in a certain way teaches, well, not teaches, but yeah, in a certain way he teaches people how to play the Necrophobic songs. I've already tried it. It's really cool because I play guitar myself. But what do you think about all these social media things where the bands are a little bit more exposed as before? How do you deal with all these new tools that we have, especially during the pandemic, because there's no shows? Maybe social media helps a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely helps because we are not playing live shows, and and I don't know if we are exposure fanatics or something, but there is always music in our lives. Sebastian is he has also formed a project band, to as a receipt of his creativity.
In Aphelion, right?
Yeah, in Aphelion. But he's. I think for him, social media is. He's very creative and he likes to discuss stuff. He makes his own guitars and he talks to many guitar players. And myself, I put out stuff that I do in the private life. Like I'm pretty much into skiing, and also I found this thing that it is cool to have anniversary albums in my collection. And yeah, something is always happening. Some guys are not so much into social media, and me and Sebastian maybe are the most social media guys. But I don't. It helps to keep the interest up, and when we don't have this big company behind our backs to tell us what to do, and yeah, we pretty much promote the band ourselves through our social medias.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and after 30 years, have you ever thought about releasing a live album or a DVD or something, or that's not something for Necrophobic?
We actually had that plan to record a live album back in 2002 or 3 or something. We went on a Poland mini tour. Mm-hmm. And we recorded every show, but on every show there was some mistake with the recording. Then we had on one show there was a bass missing. On one show Sebastian maybe broke a guitar string and it was out of tune. So we made 4 full recordings. I have them still on whatever media it was, but it's not useful. We cannot put that out because it's not showing the best performance. And DVD, I don't know if we no, we have not planned that. There is this Wacken show from 2019, I guess. So it's out there on YouTube. So nothing that we have planned to do, but we don't know anything about the future. Maybe, I don't know, a live album seems so. That was, what was cool in the 70s or 80s. But now when you have all these channels like YouTube and stuff, no one wants to, at least not me anymore, wants to listen to a new live album when you know that I want to see the band play. And I think we are best in that you also see and hear the music at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now moving a little bit to Sweden in general. Mm-hmm. What do you guys have in Sweden? How is it possible to have such a fucking amazing scene when it comes to hard rock, heavy metal, death metal, black metal, everything?
I don't know. We have this dark period from October till March. Called winter, called Scandinavian winter. I think that is a key to what comes out in the music. And my generation also had this magazine called OK. when we had only two TV channels in Sweden back in the 70s and 80s, and those were very strict on what was broadcasts. So when a magazine called OK came out, it was much heavy metal, much pop, with great photos and everything. That inspired us maybe to form an own band and stuff like that. And then with the climate we have up here, maybe has something to do with how music are inspired and developed.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a pretty unique case. I mean, in Sweden, because okay, you have the hard rock bands like Europe and all of this glam stuff. You have pretty good heavy metal bands too. You have death metal. You have black metal. You have it's something that really amazes me every time. And sometimes I discover a new band and I think, oh, okay, I hope they're not from Sweden. And then I look that up and they come from Sweden. It's like, I don't do that on purpose. Sometimes sometimes I feature bands on the show and when I'm talking about the band, blah, 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 and then I realize that I have featured, I don't know, maybe 5 bands altogether from Sweden. I didn't make that on purpose, but what can I do if you guys release good music? So, yeah.
Yeah, we're good at making music and we're good at ice hockey.
Okay.
And Spain, you can win in football and yeah. We can win in music and ice hockey.
Ice hockey. That's really cool. Okay, now I'd like you to name a highlight in your career. Something that you will always remember. Like, wow, this moment was so huge or so special to me. Something that will be always in your memory.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we have had that moment yet. We didn't tour as much as other bands. We played shows and made tours, but I cannot think of anything that's wow. This is something very different, and maybe if we win this Grammy Award, that would be something, a receipt of being there for 30 years and that our music has, how should I say it? A receipt of good quality music. But there's funny stories about what happened through tours and mini tours and stuff like that. When we were in Mexico and the car broke down and all of a sudden a man with his son came by and he was all dressed in white. They were supposed to maybe go to a market or something. Yeah, he didn't mind. He was dressed up, but he went under the car and fixed the car and was all oily afterwards and bye bye and a funny thing, but nothing that is like, wow, that was a big moment of yeah.
Okay, I have just a couple of questions more. The first one is, after the pandemic, when everything is over, where would you like to play your first concert? And what's the first concert that you would like to attend as a fan?
I don't have a special place that I want the first concert to be. It will be the first concert that's on our schedule. Um, but I was supposed to go to a Wasp concert last May or June, and they were supposed to go on tour with playing only songs from the first 4 albums. I want that tour to be the tour that they are going to do when the pandemic is over, and I will go to that concert.
Okay. And then the last question that I have for you today is a question that I usually ask our guests. And I know you're a huge Iron Maiden fan, but is there anything that you've been listening to a lot lately and that you could recommend? I don't mean that it has to be something new. It doesn't have to be a new band. It can be something that you revisited or something that you discovered, and it can be something from the 60s, I don't know. But something that you have been listening a lot lately and that you think that, okay, people should listen to this a little bit more.
The thing that comes to mind, and that is nothing that I recommend, because it's so unmetal to say, but lately I've been listening to a lot of jazz.
Okay.
And that's something it makes me relaxed. It's not fusion jazz, it's like more, I don't know the genre, the actual, what that jazz is called, but it's anyway, I listen to it a lot when I maybe have dinner or wants to calm down, and I listen a lot to jazz, and I have done that for 2 years now, and I also went to a concert that was in that period when I started to listen to it. The drummer and keyboard player, the brothers that played with Yngwie Malmsteen, Johansson brothers, Jens and Anders. Their father was a big jazz musician. So they went on tour with playing his songs. And I was attending to one of those shows, and it was wonderful. I know it's not so metal to talk about this. I don't recommend people to listen to jazz, but your question was, what have you been listening to lately? And that's jazz.
That's really cool. I forgot to say that it doesn't have to be metal. It can be whatever. So, okay. Yeah, I'm a huge jazz fan myself too. So, that's really cool. So I have no more questions for you today, but it was amazing having you. So thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for stopping by virtually, and I hope to see you guys on the road soon. I cross my fingers so the pandemic will be over. I don't know, maybe for October. I hope so. That would be great.
Yeah, 2022. I think the thing is over. I hope so, but I just heard that on a podcast I was listening to, they were talking about there's a new virus that they are going to call COVID-20 because I hope it's not true because I think 21 it's not going to be shows, but in 2022 I really hope to come out and play again.
Yeah, that would be great. So again, thanks for your time and good luck for your future projects.
Thank you.